a lot of people were affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know, like, how would you say this traumatic event impacted you?
He never showed up for work again. He never came back to work. But because people aren't educated about the similarities and things like that, people have a fear of the unknown, and that's where all the other stuff comes in.
So I've always thought about that. There's guys that I knew growing up, they were quick, but they wanted to be footballers or something else.
Bro, do you know how many training sessions where I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't like pull my hamstring or this type of thing? Or it's one of the things that we all struggle to do in this life, man, is face our fears. It's so hard to do.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Quality Touch Podcast. My name's DeAndre and I'm your host. Make sure you lot like, comment, subscribe and follow our social media above. I'm here with a talented man. He's got a great passion for winning and he's got one of the greatest stories I've ever heard.
Hi, my name is Hassan. I am from Queens, New York.
USA. Before I go into the questions, I want to shout out to my sponsors, White Star Academy. They have helped a lot of people in North London get signed and they support people with football. As you can see, our setup is slightly different. White Stars under 15s, they currently won the North London Youth Football League, and this is why we've got this medal and this trophy right here. The under 15s are doing quite well, and they're looking to win their League Cup, the league, and their under 16 Cup. But so, Hassan, so where are you from?
First, let me congratulate you on that
Yes, come
title,
on, man.
because
Come
I
on,
coach
man.
too, so I know how that is. You feel me? But to answer your question, I am actually British. Okay, I was born in Birmingham. Lived there when I was a kid for a few years. Moved to Nigeria. Had a great experience there. Got to see my background. Had a great experience then. Moved to New York, where I lived most of my life. Another phase of life, and then I moved back here 4 years ago. So had a journey.
That's crazy. What a lot of you don't know, actually, I want you lot to comment how old you think Hassan is, and we'll reveal that at the end of the episode. So make sure you lot are tapped in. So I wanted to start off with what it was like growing up, but first I want to know what's your like interests, common interests that you might have.
I'm a huge sports guy, so like most sports, you'll see me at least glance at it. But football's my thing. I also love basketball. I grew up playing a lot of tennis and table tennis.
Tennis, I didn't know that, you know.
Yeah, I'm actually. I played table tennis, even at uni. You probably didn't know that.
No,
I was in the table tennis club, but futsal was my main focus by
that's
that point.
okay.
Yeah, so because I learned a lot of things playing different sports, like especially in Nigeria, like kids, we experiment with all kinds of different sports. Like today, we experience this in coaching. A lot of kids specialize, right? They stick in with one sport from like age whatever. But I played a whole bunch of sports, even, I'm geeking out on the Olympics.
Oh
When
my
Paris,
goodness.
when the Olympics come around, I'm watching all the events. So I try to, I developed a passion for that from a young age because we used to watch just everything and try everything. You figure out what works for you
Yeah.
and what doesn't, but you still like,
What
have
would
a
you
lot of
say,
sports.
talking about Olympics, what would you say is your like best
The
favorite what's it, event?
event by far, the 1, the 2, and the relay, male and female. So like that's what you living for.
You know what?
You know.
I've not really been watching the. Since Usain Bolt's been gone, I've been gone as well. Every time he's gonna win, so you want to see like how he's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
beat
yeah.
his record and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
But I watch it if it's on TV and stuff. You know what I mean?
Because everyone now that's come out is, especially like on the guys, they're obsessed with trying to figure out how to beat Usain Bolt's records. They're not. A lot of them aren't gonna do it, but they're trying to figure out like how to prepare themselves physically for that. And I want to see it too. because if for those of you who don't know, Usain Bolt ran, I think it was a 9.6 or something like that in 2008. He could have ran a 9.5 because if you watch that race again, he actually stopped at 80 minutes. He slowed down, so he could have ran 9.5 or 4, something like that, which is crazy. You know, you prepare months and months to months to run under 10 seconds.
You know what I've said, yeah? People might... It's so hard to get through to it, but
Yeah.
his records, yeah, look at how many records have been beaten. Obviously, my man has the greatest record to be beaten so far. It's going to get boring if you're not... Like, yeah, people are winning, but you want to see someone beat the world record. Like, every time me growing up watching it anyways, I'm seeing world record, Olympic record and whatnot. But they're going to have to do something.
Right.
Like, obviously, right at the moment, they'll say, oh, it's enhancing, like, you're not allowed to do that because...
Right, yeah.
But I think, yeah, it's going to come to a point where we need someone... They might lose views and stuff like that because no one's making it entertaining no more.
Well, if you watch what athletics have done now, they've realized that they need to spice it up. First of all, even back in the States, right? I always thought that coverage of athletics was poor. Like if it wasn't the Olympics, you didn't know what was going on. You go to Google, you're looking up the websites. Okay, who's racing? They'll be showing stuff, you know, in retro, like, oh, this was a race from 2 weeks ago, but they didn't broadcast it live, or there's no reruns.
Yeah.
You know, like if you watch the Euros or the World Cup or the Champions League or whatever it is, you know, you get to see the reruns everywhere. With athletics, it's not like that. You know, you don't know like what's going on with like the up and coming Caribbean, which I watch a lot. I watch a lot of them because that's where most of the talent to watch next comes from, regardless of who they represent next, right? So, but you don't find out about them till like just before a tournament, and you're like, okay, how long has this person been around? It's gotten a lot better. They're doing a lot more promotion, and I think they this coming Olympics, they're gonna be paying like 50,000 or something like that for the winners or something, which they didn't used to do. Which I'm glad they're doing. So that means that they're pumping money into it and finally investing, because I thought that I thought, you know, and in the States, you would think that's where the best coverage would be, you know, but it actually wasn't that good. Outside of the Olympics, they don't cover it very well.
There's one more thing that I was thinking,
Yeah.
American people, if they're watching it, will get onto me. But I think, yeah, cool. They rank you, who's won the most medals? That like, United States won how many gold medals? But when you think about it, yeah, there's more of them competing. Like,
Yeah.
So of course they're gonna have the most medals because there's more of them in the competition.
Well, you know the answer I would give you for that is look at England when it comes to football. If you look at the leagues, the leagues from the Premier League all the way down, how many divisions we got? From the Premier League all the way down to non-league, how many divisions we have? How dominant are we really on a global stage? You know what I mean? So you could argue on one hand that the States are actually kind of more effective in what they do, you know, in that sense, because in football here, to compare, in football here, we have the academy system. That's what produces footballers, right? For university over there, that's what produces the track athletes, right? Like that's the academy system that produces the athletes, because those universities, the D1, they complete, just like basketball. The D1 basketball system produces the top basketball players, right? So if you look at how much talent they produce, you know, to win, you could actually say, okay, they're actually pretty effective. But again, the advantage they have is massive, you know, compared to the UK, you know. So if the UK, in my opinion, if the UK is gonna match that, they have to switch just like how we argue in the States, they got to switch their football system, which they're starting to do gradually. It's gonna take years. Over here with the athletics, like there's no D1 university track system here. Here you have running athletic clubs. That's what you have, from what I know. Like most of the universities don't get a whole lot of press if you have like a top athlete unless they come from a club.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the difference in what, because I could say, it's hard to argue in terms of land mass because, again, let's switch to football. Why is the Netherlands? How big is that country? They're pretty small. I don't even think the Netherlands is bigger than the whole of like Greater London, maybe slightly bigger. I'm not sure. Look at the volume of footballers they produce. Why is that? You know, my answer is what they focus on, the investment. Even the track athletes that they produce is pretty good. The Netherlands. So I don't think size comes into it. I think it's the focus that they have on it. You know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know too much. Yeah. I've always wondered how like athletic people make it into like, oh, you're gonna be in the Olympics and stuff. I've not really seen. I'm not really tapped into that too tough.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered how they got to where they are.
Yeah, because the reason I've always, my curiosity came from, I'm obviously first, you're a fan, because I grew up watching like, Carl Lewis and, in his later career, I don't know if y'all know Linford Christie and, like all the English legends, but it's like, what goes into like, how does an athlete get to that point where you're that good? Because once you really understand how those athletes prepare themselves, for something like that, how to dedicate themselves, it's hard to even call the person who comes in 8th place a scrub. Because I look at it like this: there's 8 lanes, and those 8 lanes, there's 8 athletes there, and what it means is those guys are the 8 best in the world. If you're in a final,
listen to this though. Sorry to cut you.
yeah.
I've always thought about it. It's always on my mind, yeah. There's one guy, there's one person somewhere. They could have been the Usain Bolt and whatnot, but they're probably at home doing nothing. They're probably playing PlayStation. They're doing something, and it's not athletics,
Right.
because maybe they're not being identified or something they don't want to do. I might be the best table. You're talking about table. I could be the best table tennis player in the world, but I don't play it.
Right.
No, but I might have the talent for it if I carried on playing. You get me? So I've always thought about that. There's guys that I knew growing up, they were quick, but they wanted to be footballers or something else. But if they got into athletics, maybe they would be. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always on my mind, thinking there's someone out there, but they're not pursuing it.
So, growing up in Nigeria, right? Like that was where my passion for football began, because the way it was, I don't know if it's still like that anymore. I wouldn't say, I would say probably no, because times change. But like, a kid would come from that building, from that building, from that building, from that building, come out. But by the time, you have about 13, 14 kids out there and everybody playing, and it's competitive, and over time, this person gets good at this, gets good at that. You watch something on TV, you go back out there, you replicate the moves, and like you develop your competitive spirit. Like one of the reasons I think kids should embrace sport is you will discover your competitive drive, like what drives you. And then if you figure it out from a sporting perspective, you can carry it out into other areas.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Talking about what you're saying, my school at the time when I was going to school, we used to have sports awards. Like I felt like I'm going to, get me. I know I'm getting my trophy. All the people that were good at sports. It makes them feel good. Like some of them might not have been good academically with their work, but you got the athletes which were good at it and they're getting rewarded for it. So it helped encourage them to do better.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the athletics before I move on from that. I was sick at athletics in school. Like,
Oh, really?
I won every gold medal. I remember, this is one thing that annoyed me. So my school, what's annoying? I don't know why they stopped it. They stopped the ceremony thing,
Oh, really?
I don't know how. This is a good story. I was playing basketball, not a basketball player at all. Anyone that was there can vouch for it. I think I was like 8 at the time.
Uh-huh.
I'm on my side of the court. I promise you, no word of a lie. I did a, what do you call it? Not even a 3-pointer. I'm shooting from my part of the court and it went in. So obviously I got the basketball medal. But what annoyed me, I think I should have got the football one, car. In the football team, I scored all the goals. And I remember that year I was scoring most of the goals, but they gave it to someone that was a better footballer because maybe they know he's good at football. But I think even though I got the basketball one because I scored a good shot, I should have got the football one. But yeah, talking about the athletics thing before I lose on track with myself. Year 10 or year 9, cool. There was a guy, one of my friends, Tyler. Yeah, he was faster than me in year 7. 100%. I knew he was faster than me. But year 10, this is like our last sports day. We're getting ready to do our GCSEs now, so we're not gonna be doing all these sport events anymore. But this is like the last race. Bear in mind, I won a race before. I won what was the other one? I was doing high jump for some reason, but when they said the 100 meters, I left that. I forget about that. This is my race. You get me? I'm ready. Yeah. So cool. Me and Tyler were like the fastest in our year. Tyler, like, remember, he was the fastest guy in year 7 at the time at one point. But I was gradually getting faster as I was getting older. And I'm like, I'm faster than my man. I know I'm faster than you, Tyler. I'm faster than Tyler. Yeah. So, and because everyone knows that it's between me and Tyler. So we're in house group. So there's red, blue, yellow, green. I'm in the green team. He's in whatever team.
Oh, they do houses here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever wins, and it counts for each year group. So you add up all the points.
Right. You tally it.
So I've won most of my races already for all the other ones, right? But this is the main one, the 100 meter. No one wants to race us, right? All the other houses, there's other houses that can be involved. It's just me, Tyler. There was a Polish guy, I forgot his name, but he just went in the race so he can get points for his team. He knew he was losing, but it made sense. He joined the race.
Right.
But cool, I'm ready now. My PE teacher, this guy, he loved Tyler. Like when we're doing sports or football and PE, he used to get involved and play. You know what I mean? And he's like, I'm on Tyler's team. And I'm thinking, like, this guy, man, and he used to cheat as well. But cool. The race is getting started now. He's got the Paxton, whatever it's called, the gun. He's ready to shoot it now. He's like, DeAndre, my money's on Tyler. Tyler's going to win the race. And I'm like, cool. Like, I'm not letting him get into my head because I know I'm winning. Cool. Bang. Shoots the gun now. Running. Polish guy, he left. He's started the start line. Me and Tyler gone. Running now. Seeing Tyler on my left. No, Tyler's on my right. I'm running. I'm seeing everyone cheering. Like I can see everyone on my right in the stadium because we're at New River, in Wood Green, running now. And I'm like, I'm in front of Tyler. Like I'm still in front of him. I'm running. I'm still going. And you know, I'm thinking I'm like a proper athlete now. I'm going for the head finish, like, and because I'm thinking I thought it was close, so I do the head finish, but I'm leaning forward, so I looked like I was swimming. I just kept running. I was just going all the way down the track. But when I looked at it back now, I won the race, yeah. And I was thinking, shame, like, what do you mean your money's on Tyler? Like, I won. But I saw the video. I was way ahead of him, and I almost fell over for no reason. But and what annoyed me about this, yeah, I can't lie, this annoyed me. So my house had never won in how many years, like through the school, obviously before I was there and everything. And they took 2 people. Bear in mind, I won all my races. Yeah, 200 done, 400 meters done, relay won that, 100 meters against Tyler, one of the fastest guy done. And I see my house won, so I'm thinking, the green team won. Because everyone's thinking, who's gonna win? Red team. Yeah. My team wins. I'm thinking, cool. I'm like the oldest person I'm gonna go down. They sent some next guy who never won one race, who was part of my team. They sent him as captain. He's taking photos all on the school website. And I'm thinking, that's because of me. And I was like, nah, man, run this school. But yeah, that's me in athletics. I was quick. A lot of people don't think I was quick. They underestimated me. But I'm still quick now. If anyone wants to race me, you know where I'm at.
Here's my thing about that. You know, I mean this sincerely, like, it's probably better, whether it's athletics or other sports at the high school level, it's better to fail early and to keep going. And I'll tell you why. Like stats, look at the volume, okay, right, of really supremely talented, skilled young footballers between like 17 and 20 that don't make it, and they plateau. They don't get any better because they looked at like I remember a kid, I can't remember his name now. He won the Junior World Cup. He was at Liverpool, and he was really really good. But you could see that they placed a value on him very early, and he never developed past that level.
I'm trying to. Who are you talking about?
He was at Liverpool, and I think he went to Sheffield, or I can't remember his name. It'll probably come to me, but he was a very. I saw him play the Junior World Cup for England because England never actually does well at the junior level. I don't know if you guys watch the junior, like the U17,
Yeah.
U whatever, like up until like we're paying more attention now and valuing it more now as we should, but like the Junior World Cups, I've been watching it since I was in Nigeria. England never does anything. It's usually, Ghana, Nigeria, U.S., Brazil, Argentina. Argentina and Brazil are really good at the U17 level. Most of the guys that we end up seeing later on, if you watch them at U16, U17, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. They were already doing it very, very early.
Yeah.
So, a lot of those guys, they peak a little bit too early. We were lucky that say when Rooney, didn't do, he got fast tracked into the first team, and look at what he went on to do. But you never hear about him doing anything at U17. Gerrard, Lampard, that whole era, even the generation that came after that, they didn't really do much. Now let's look at that from a student standpoint, right? Let's say you have a super smart student in high school that just sits in class, he hears what the teacher's saying, he gets it. Don't have to do no studying, nothing. You got the other kid, got to study to get average grades. So you got one who's studying hard to get average grades. You got one who just sits there, yeah, I got this. He goes right in. He doesn't know how to work for his grades. When both of those kids go to university, guess which one is gonna grow? The one that knows how to put the work in. The one that's used to just sitting there now doesn't know how to actually grind for their grades. That's literally what happens to footballers when they're supremely talented very early.
Yeah.
Like they don't know how to raise their game from one level to the next. Like they don't, like, to them it's a foreign concept. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm good. Because they've always been like supreme. But the ones that have actually failed, people talk all the time and say Jordan probably would have been great anyway if he wasn't cut from his high school team. No way. The reason why is his attitude. Okay, he is driven to absolutely dominate, beat anybody that's in front of him. And I don't think I'm close to that, but I'm like super competitive. You probably don't know this, but like one of the reasons I was always stuck in the library is I used to, even if I felt somehow it was a lie, I used to tell myself, all these other cats in class are studying, man. Get to work. I used to say that all the time. That's why like you used to see me there in the library. Like,
I'm gonna go into that
Yeah.
a bit later.
Yeah.
But saying you enjoy a lot of sports and
Yeah.
football, one thing I want to know is what team you support. And I'm just hoping. I've had how many people? Two so far. 2 people support Liverpool.
That's 3, bro. I'm a
No,
Liverpool fan, bro.
There's 3 Liverpool fans, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the Chelsea fans. Anyone supports Chelsea, hit me up. Get on the show, you get me? Come on, I need a Chelsea fan over here.
They're not coming out right now, man. They're in hiding right now, man.
If I'm honest, I don't even want to talk too much about the league, but yeah, that 5-0, Arsenal. Yeah, that game the other day was crazy. I don't even want to talk about that. But yeah, Liverpool, man. You got bottling it. What's going on? That's the second time I think I'm saying that.
You know what it is? You know what? Some guys are ready, some are not. We don't have the complete blend to win yet. The problem like the last couple years was we weren't getting goals out of midfield. Now the midfield is much better, but the forward line is not scoring as many goals. So, the defense.
Come on, you got Nunes up front now. Of course, you're not gonna score.
Nunes is maybe a year behind. You wanna hear something controversial? right now, I would actually switch Nico Jackson
That's crazy. That's
with
crazy.
Nunez.
I ain't listening to no more.
Honestly,
Forget about that. That guy, the bag of poo. I ain't listening to no more.
Did you see that kid at Villarreal?
No chance. Huh?
Did you see that guy at Villarreal?
I
You
don't
don't
care.
become a bad player
I
overnight.
don't care. This guy is poo. That's it. I don't want to hear no more about my man. I'll be honest. But yeah, so
Bro, I'm telling you, you needed to see this guy at Villarreal. They're using him wrong at.
the brother is
He's-
heading with his hand.
So you're a Chelsea
Come on
fan.
now.
You remember Alvaro Morata?
Yeah,
Remember
of course,
him?
Of course.
And
Baller. Not Chelsea, but
that confidence crisis he went through. It's the same. I'm seeing the same thing. They're not putting him in a position to.
man, he's doing
but
it to himself.
Chelsea's the big leagues, man.
if my White Star players if I expect them to be scoring goals which are easy chances,
Yeah.
and the main guy that is playing in the Premier League getting paid how much thousands can't do it, why should I be getting onto my players if that's what's expected of them?
True.
Nah, man.
You're right.
Nah, man.
But it's also if we're looking at just the Premier League, it's a little bit unfair, I'm gonna say, or unjust to suggest that the salary that they paid should dictate their performance or is gonna dictate their performance. If you're having a bad day, you're gonna have a bad day at the office, no matter how much you get paid.
How many bad days are you gonna have?
Or
though?
a bad season. You know, that's just the reality. So, you know, if you take a look at the performances from top to bottom, it's not really that surprising. Raheem Sterling has fallen off a cliff in terms of form. That guy has barely played. He has not been the same player since he came to London. I don't know why he left. I don't know what was going on there. But
I don't know. I can't lie. I don't really want to be speaking about
but
Chelsea.
Liverpool. I've been, since, Michael Owen. I was a huge, Michael Owen fan. Robbie Fowler, Ince, Paul Ince. I never actually saw John Barnes. I saw like retro footage, but I was a huge, I used to read about him. I was a John Barnes fan. So that was where Liverpool came. Like, they actually didn't show Manchester United like that. But it's funny. I actually thought, because of the bad reception in Nigeria at that time, because sometimes that reception so I actually thought Eric Cantona was playing for Liverpool. You guys know Eric Cantona, right?
Yeah,
Because if you notice, like, they wore the same red. Right. So I actually thought Eric Cantona was playing for Liverpool. But I was wondering, like, wow, they really changed the team, because they didn't even show it wasn't Manchester United. They would just show like highlights of the matches. So by the time I figured out that I was actually watching Manchester United, it was too late. I was already sticking with Liverpool, and that was it. So yeah, even through all the dominance, that eras pass. So I used to tell my friends all the time, because they never understood why I supported Liverpool, because most of them were Man U fans and Arsenal fans, up and coming Chelsea fans, right? And I used to say to them, I said, Ferguson is going to retire, and I am going to throw a barbecue when he does, because I know we're gonna make a comeback.
Well, they ain't been the same sense, man.
They
ain't been the same sense. Trust me. Oh man. Talking about, while we're on the topic of sports, I just thought we can play a game. I saw someone playing this game. One of the teachers that I know, and we can choose any topic. I also want to see hear what other music you listen to. Obviously, being from the States, Nigeria, UK, different genres, books even. Obviously, having football, soccer. What else? Other sports? I don't know. Do you wanna? So this game, is you can't say anything with the letters S, beginning with S or P, right? You can pick a genre. So, anything that you're more comfortable with. Obviously, with me, I guess it'll be easier for me to do football.
Yeah, we can do football. We can do football.
Cool. So I'm gonna put a time on my phone. I'll say 10 seconds max. No, that's too long. 5 seconds max. You need to say a name of any player, or should I say or manager even, that might help out. Any player or manager, but the letter cannot begin with S or P.
Okay.
Cool. We're gonna start now. Wait, off you go.
Ancelotti.
Guardiola.
Mourinho.
Man, Hassan, you got lucky. We're gonna go. Yeah, you're gonna go again. Yeah, you're gonna go again. Obviously, you got saved, but we're gonna SOP. You're gonna start off. Let's go. Last one.
Okay. Diaz.
Kurt Zuma.
Nunes.
Oh my day. No, I'm not gonna say the same one I said before. Yeah. Endo Fernandez. Oh my day. I said that before. Maino.
McTominay.
I said Bruno. Luke.
Ah!
No, man. I didn't say his name. I said Luke. Nah, chill. What's that guy? Wan-Bissaka. No, we keep moving, man. Keep moving. I'll say that's
Sufal.
He's in the Premier League.
Yeah,
Foden.
Oh. Wait.
This game's hard, you know.
Jackson.
Kanji.
Rodri.
Madueke.
Justo.
Reece James. Got this in the bag.
Cucurella.
Chilwell.
Alonso.
Braithwaite. Time's done, man. Time is done. Alright, we're gonna move on. I won that again. I don't care what anyone says. If I lost, I won. Alright, cool. I won that. Do you still want to speak about just other stuff we don't mention that? Are there any books you're reading or?
You know, I so this is gonna sound funny, but I'm actually a huge mob history guy because it's a way of me reading a little bit about history while it stays interesting. Because there's a saying where they say, "Behind every great fortune is a great crime." If you look back at how the Prohibition era and the organized crime era, it's very much a blueprint to how a lot of stuff is done today. So if you understand what they got away with at that time, you could see why certain things are done a certain way today.
Yeah.
Maybe even legalized. So like there's most of those stories from Luciano and all that. Like there's very few stories, Al Capone. There's very few stories that I probably haven't read. Also, if you watch like the depictions of Al Capone and the gangster stuff is the obvious stuff, but like how they did things and how they kept it as a business. If you see the way that they moved and the way they did things, the ruthlessness by which they executed. And their success, the reality is their success was admired. These guys were in the newspaper, and the people, even though they were under investigation, how many people have we seen today that are, seem to be doing well, but then at some point they're under investigation for something, right? So they leave an interesting, like, blueprint. So beyond that, in terms of movies, you got to watch The Godfather, man. I watch The Godfather any day.
I think that's the one Netflix.
Godfather, American Gangster, Training Day. I love Denzel. Yeah, Training Day. Like, how do you not? Like, obviously Denzel got an Oscar for Training Day, but like, he should have got something for American Gangster. Like, man, he got robbed for that one.
I need to.
So, yeah. So I love. They tell great stories. I read an interesting. It wasn't really a book. It was a biography recently about these gangsters from London called the Krays.
Yeah.
The Kray brothers.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, what a story, man. I mean, people loved them on the surface, but look at what they were doing behind the scenes.
Yeah, mad.
So like, again, so if you look at a lot of success stories, understanding what they did, sure, that was crime, but like the drive by which they did it in order to be successful. The drive is the same as if they had taken that and started ASDA or whatever it is. It would have been they would have been just as successful, but it was what they picked in order to be successful. You know what I'm saying? So like those guys, the skill sets that they had that were successful in organized crime was the same they would have been if they decided to go into anything else. And that's why I liked a lot of those stories. It's like, man, if you just pick something else, you'd be balling just the same. You know what I mean? So yeah, like so those stories, I got into those. I'm a huge comic book guy, DC more than Marvel, but
That's crazy. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people would disagree. I'm not really tapped in
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
When I go to the cinema, it's a Marvel movie though. Like I don't even know the last
know what's
DC movie
crazy?
that came out.
I don't even watch any of that stuff, man. To me, that's not the. I don't even watch the movies.
Is it?
I'm not into the movies like that at all. I can't remember. I think I saw the first Avengers. No, I didn't see Avengers. The last one I saw was Civil War. I didn't see either of the Thanos with the rings. I didn't see
that was a
that. I didn't
good
see
one,
any of
man.
them. I
That
didn't
was a
see any.
good one.
I did see Black Panther, and I think I saw Doctor Strange. But I was not. I was like, because
Doctor Strange.
it's so weird when you actually read the books and you see how they depicted it in the movies. You're like, okay, I don't know about this.
Oh,
So
are they different? Like,
yeah, it's not.
okay.
It's not the same.
I wouldn't know that.
Like if you go back and watch the early X-Men movies that they came out with,
Oh, that's cold. I like
right?
X-Men.
Yeah, like if you go back and watch the early ones, I think came out 2000, early 2000s. Like those ones were more like the comic book. The ones that they came out with later, they went
No, I
down.
ain't seen
They
the-
went down.
The last one, the last X-Men I remember seeing
Mm-hmm.
was called The Last Stand. I don't know if that was the third one or fourth. You know, what
The
I'm
Last
talking
Stand is
about?
more like
that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's a
you're
good
right.
one. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
so that trilogy, those ones are more like the comic books. But
saw-
they went off after the ones they came out with after that. I think the Wolverine one was all right.
Yeah, I like that.
Where he had like
brother.
his brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
that one was all right. But then there was a few others where it's
no,
like, what do you?
I
Where's
I
this?
wasn't tapped in like that.
Yeah, and those are well written stories. That obviously kids feel so and so about reading today. Get into those, man, because you couldn't convince me to read Shakespeare when I was growing up. You had to pay me to do that. But get me into a comic book, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get into this. And
a lot of
that's
people probably agree with that.
that's reading comprehension right there. Read and answer questions. That's all it is.
Right.
You feel me? So it's like, that's how I got into reading. Really, I did not like reading all that other stuff to make you read in school. I was not interested, and I understand. And I mean, we'll get into this eventually, I'm sure. But and I know you didn't know, I'm dyslexic.
Is it? No
Yeah,
way.
yeah. That's why, like, I would be at the library just sitting for like 2 hours at the at the screen. That's why I'd be sitting there for 2 hours at the screen, like,
I did not know that.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna finish this and dyslexia is weird because when someone says something to you, you hear it and it sounds so simple, but it's almost as if there's a lag and it's not downloading somehow or whatever. Like you heard it. It's simple, but like for some reason you can't respond or it doesn't compute the way that it should, and you're like in your mind like, okay, that sounded very simple. Why don't I get that? You know what I'm saying? So, and that's the best explanation I can give. But like, it really takes you a while to like actually process it. And even sometimes re-explaining it doesn't help. You just need time. So that's why sometimes you you could go home, come back, and I've only done 300 words at the computer, but I know I'm gonna get it done.
Did you get any like support?
So here's the thing, and no, the answer is no, because when I was growing up, the understanding was I probably wasn't a very good student.
Right.
So, and it's that thing where If you ask an elephant to climb a tree, it's gonna spend its life thinking it's dumb. You know, so I'm there trying because I had these struggles in high school, and this actually was in Nigeria just before I moved. I was having these struggles. In fact, it was so bad one year that I had to repeat my year, right? And I didn't know. I'm thinking that I must be doing something wrong. I didn't understand that because, and there was no proper way for me. I was a kid. There was no proper way for me to actually communicate the struggles I was having. The only based on if you have African parents, all of y'all know this. If y'all got African parents, you've heard this. You must work hard. There is no other option for you. You are going to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. We've all heard it, right? There isn't a lot of forum, at least not when I was growing up, probably more today, to have the creative sides of honing the skills of what makes you creative and skillful in other areas outside of science and technology. There wasn't a huge emphasis on that. So if you're not doing well there, it's either you don't have the capacity, right, to be smart, or you're just a bad student, right? So for me, knowing that A or B was like a constant struggle, and obviously it affects you. But the only thing I knew how to do really was, okay, if I gotta sit here and it's gonna take me 4 hours to figure it out versus the 45 minutes, I guess that's what I gotta do. So I got used to being patient. It took, honestly, it was somebody at Korea Zone that actually asked me to get tested.
Wow.
So I actually didn't get tested all this time until when we just came back from lockdown. That was when we talked about it before, because I just went to ask, and then I got tested after we came back, and that was when I confirmed it. But I had a pretty good, because from working with students myself, I was starting to see it. Even in football, bro, like they would give us like a simple drill, to do, and I would make the completely wrong run. And I was like, why did I do that? What he said was really simple. So in football, okay, this is how I solved it. I said, you know what? I'm not going first. Y'all go. Because whenever the coach said something, I was ready to learn. I was always eager to learn something because I wanted to be better at football.
Yeah.
But I decided.
Football, soccer.
Huh? Well, you call it football here.
Oh,
so I already knew, to not call it soccer.
All right, cool. No, I just needed to clear it up to make sure we knew what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Yeah, listen, man. Once I crossed the Atlantic, I put soccer underneath my bed. I put the word underneath. I buried it because nobody uses it here. We would be in drills or whatever, and the coach would explain it, and I would make the completely wrong run. So my solution was I would literally watch what other people did, and if they got it right, I was like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Good, and then I would do that, and that's how I got away with it in sports.
Right.
So that's what I did for a long time, until and then later on I broke it to a couple members of my family, and they were like, and a couple of them were like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't know.
No, it makes
But
sense.
there isn't, it's one of those things, there wasn't a whole lot of education about it at the time in terms of what it is. And here's the thing, what we know now, if you're dyslexic in something, usually it means there's a superpower somewhere lying dormant, right? And you just have to pay attention to, just like everybody, you got to pay attention to what you're good at. You know what I mean? Like if someone's explaining something to me and it takes longer than like a minute, I probably am going to say something like, you know what? When you start doing it, I'll understand. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Or I might even just say, yeah, I understand. I don't understand. But I know that once I see it visually, usually when I see things visually, I don't forget.
Okay.
Like a play, if we were in a football, if I realized after a while, if we're in a football match, 5 years ago, I gave you the pass and you made this run, da 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 da. I would remember it to the letter. You know, great matches that I watched on TV, I could show you the play to the letter. Basketball stuff, I could show you the play to the letter. Athletics, if I watched a classic race, I could tell you how this handoff took place and all that. I could tell you to the letter. But if someone's should be explaining the same concept and I didn't get it and I wasn't there, I probably wouldn't even understand.
Yeah.
So, but it took me a while to figure out, oh, okay, that's why.
Wow.
So that's why I was completely, in part comfortable going to university, because I said, even before that, I just said, I'm just going to work as hard as I can, man. When I moved here, I said, I'm just going to work as hard as I can. I'm not quitting anyway. That's why, like, when some of our schoolmates were going through stuff and some of them just stopped showing up, I'm like, you leaving?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, we throwing out 9 beans for this. I ain't quitting. That's not an option.
Man. I'm going to talk more about that a bit later, about the way the amount of people that just disappeared was crazy.
Yeah.
But the last thing I want to talk about as far as your interests is music. So being from so many different countries, what are you listening to and what did you used to listen to?
Okay, let me start with what I can't get into. Okay, I'm trying to get into some drill. I can't do
that.
Like the flow don't work the same, bro. It just don't work the same. Like I'm New York hip hop through and through. Notorious Big. My favorite all time rappers is Tupac by a country mile. J. Cole probably second.
Bro, have you seen what the thing of him apologizing to? I think it was Kendrick Lamar.
I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
I didn't get that apology. Because you know what it is? Rappers, to me, the way I see it, they condition themselves mentally like athletes. Like, it's mad competitive. And the bravado is a huge part of what makes them really good. So, it's one, like, if you're going to say something, you've already said it. You know what I mean? It should be the way things used to be, because rap battles is not a new thing, right? Mm-hmm. But it stays on wax, but like with social media, I guess with all of this other stuff, like it just gets blown out of proportion, and maybe he just felt like he didn't want to start something that he had nothing to, that, he didn't want to be a part of anyway. Maybe that's why he apologized. Yeah. I don't know. Rappers typically, that's why I respect 50. If 50 says something to you, y'all ever heard How to Rob?
That was my most, when I grew up, that was my favorite artist. Yeah. When I was little.
Have you guys ever heard the track How to Rob?
Let's hear it.
Yeah?
Go on.
Yeah, the bottom line is, I'm a crook with the deal. If my record don't sell, I'm a rob and steal. Better recognize I'm straight from the streets. This industry stuff looks like something to eat. Y'all didn't see that before?
I've listened to 50 Cent on time.
Yeah, that was his first real hit. And nobody even knew what he looked like at the time.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've seen.
He was going at all the art, like in that he was going at all the artists in there. He talked about Puff, Lil' Kim at the time. I'm trying to remember all the R&B artists at that time. He went after all of them. Fat Joe.
No, of course I heard.
Yeah, he said Jodeci. He said, "I'll rob all of you."
Yeah, I've heard that.
So it's like, that's the era of I like a lot of stuff is too watered down now, man. But there's some guys out here that are all right. I'm forgetting his name now. Stormzy.
Oh yeah, Cole. Yeah.
Come on, man. I always wonder, like, I think the guy just is trying to stay in his own lane, because I felt like he's the one dude that would crack like the U.S. market. You know what I mean? But I think he just wants to stay. But yeah, New York hip hop, Afro beats, anything good. What's good is good, bro. Like it will always be good. I do like, because I'm an MTV kid. I do like, and I used to play drums. So I actually like alternative music. So, Nirvana, Bon Jovi, like classic alternative. Panic at the Disco, Green Day, Blink 182. You know, a lot of those guys have like, especially if you hear them play live, they have solid. They play like solid music.
Okay.
And, Non-point. Non-point. I'm trying to remember these guys. They did the song with the mashup album with Jay-Z.
No clue. Oh, Linkin Park.
Linkin Park.
I don't even know how I know that.
If you ever listen, you ever listen to those guys live, those
sick.
guys are fantastic. So yeah, I got a strange place. My stuff will go from alternative to Afro beats to
that's same as,
to like R&B.
I'm listening to some random thing. Some Ethiopian. Well, not Ethiopian song yet, but the guy that I've seen them doing the hip, I don't even know what they're called, man. But shout out to the Ethiopians and the Habishas and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't know. He would definitely know what I'm talking about.
Yo, bro, I don't. It's crazy, right? I went to Barbados last year, and I got off the plane, and I don't even know what they were playing when I got off. I just started dancing. I'm like,
that's what it's like over there, man.
And then
oh my days.
And then because it was the very first, I guess the flight I took was like the very first flight to fly into Barbados. I didn't even know that until I got off, because there were all these people out there. I'm like, do they welcome everybody like this?
Yeah, that's where I'm from, man. That's what we're like.
So I'm like dancing on the thing, and then they put the thing over my neck, as a welcome. Yeah, it was really cool. But so, because growing up in Nigeria, you got to listen to everything. Like I said, I was an MTV kid. They played R&B on the radio, and then there's African music. So I developed, I guess because of that experience, I developed a appreciation for different types of music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I got Portuguese stuff in my phone. I don't even know what they're saying, but I like the beats. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I do speak Spanish, but I don't understand Portuguese at all.
The main thing I wanted to know is that how your story began, because you said you went to Nigeria and that, but when did you move to the States? Because you said you were born here.
Yeah, so I moved to the States in my teens. I just needed to get out of the house. I think teenage stuff. When I left, I went to live with my uncle.
Okay.
So my uncle took me in. Shout out to my uncle. He's was like a second dad. Looked out for me. His kids became. His kids were obviously my cousins.
Yeah.
But they pretty much became, younger brother and sister and so on. So, yeah. He didn't know anything about football or anything. Like, he was not into sports. He was very much an academic. He's a software engineer. But he did what he could for me, like just live here, go to school or whatever. Like he pretty much was on the same formula as my folks. Yeah. He didn't know much about that. But I got sidetracked for a minute, and I have to bring this up because it directly impacts why I played futsal at uni. Because I tried to go pro. I pursued it. What I basically did was I went to university. I was a student athlete, and what we did back then was you played for your uni. If you didn't get scouted during your season, in the off season, you went and tried and did these tournaments with these pro teams and semi-pro teams. That's basically what you did. And I did it up until I was like 22, 23. And then these guys literally said, "You too old." I'm like, I'm not even 25. What you mean I'm too old? And they said, "No, you're too old." And then the one thing someone said, he explained to me that if someone with your skill set and ability at age 18 is standing right next to you, I gotta pick the kid that's 18, because technically speaking, he's considered to have a longer career than you. And that was kind of disappointing to hear. Messed me up inside, but it didn't really stop my love for the game as much. But it did kind of like, oh, I guess I'm not going to be pro type thing. I didn't really have the never say die like attitude I had. Like I was kind of competitive, but not yet. kind of
Yeah.
thing. So when I came to uni, you know, because it took some years, especially I coached for a while, you know, initially I got into finance, which is not, I learned some stuff, but it wasn't for me. And then I got into coaching through working in schools in the States. When I came to uni here, um, and I'm like, okay, I know a lot more now. I'm not the same athlete that I was, but I could play. Especially when I went for the tryouts at the futsal team, because the coach was like, "Yeah, I already picked my team, but if you want to come train with us, you're good to go." In my mind, I was like, "Oh, you made a mistake, dude, telling me that, because now I'm gonna show you I can play." So we went through the whole training session. 2 hours later, I'm like, I guess I ain't playing. So I just grabbed my bag and I left. Coach comes, drag me down the hallway. He goes, "Oh, did you say you wanted to join the team? You know, you still interested?" So he changed his mind. That was my first year. By my final year, I was captain, you know, and I told him that final year, I said, "You got to coach us harder, man." I said, "These guys we playing in the leagues, these guys aren't playing around. These guys are trying to wash us."
Yeah.
So I said, "If you coach us hard, I'm gonna rally the troops. I promise you." And that's why I came to you, you know, because I went on a recruiting spree of people that I knew could play and knew the game, you know. So because I kept thinking, I felt like I knew that I was more than good enough to have played at a decent level,
Yeah.
at least, to at least test myself, right? And I just wanted to have a full season where I gave it everything, you know, and I had no regrets. I'm like, I'm in my 40s anyway. You know, I'm
Oh, you
supposed
giving them a hint? He's in his 40s.
to,
Crazy.
you know, I'm supposed to suck, but far from it. So, you know, played really well, you know, won the league. I was sportsman of
Congrats.
the year,
Congrats, man. That's
second
crazy.
highest goal scorer,
Come
team
on.
of the season, you know, graduated. So
That's amazing,
the
man.
way I see it, I won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I could just give some advice, it would be, you know, believe in yourself, you know, and do not ever quit. Failure is part of the process. Failure is part of the process. Everybody stumbles, but you got to keep going. Don't ever quit.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you know, if you want to say something to your 18-year-old self, it would be that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, we might have to do a part two, man. Your story is so long.
Yeah,
We might have
I
to
got
bring you
stories,
back now
man.
to do another story. But there's one topic. You moving to New York. So September 11th, 2001, there was a life-changing event. Those of you who don't know, on that date, 2 planes flew into the World Trade Center. A lot of people were affected by it. I wanted to know, like, how would you say this traumatic event impacted you?
I hate to give you a football reference, but I can even tell you the match that was supposed to play that day. So back then we used to record matches, right? Like DVR, because, you know, streaming, they didn't have streaming then, right? That day, Real Madrid was supposed to play Roma, and Zidane had just signed for Real Madrid. So I think they were supposed to play in, Rome. So I'm getting up that morning, right? I'm turning on the TV to set the DVR. I see a station, and it looks like there's smoke coming out the building. You know, like sorry, not a station, a building. Smoke coming out the building. You know, which is not that unusual until I flip the channel and I'm seeing the same building plane that accidentally crashed. The first one happened. So I was actually awake and watching TV. I was getting ready to leave when the second one hit. You know, and it literally looked like something in a movie. Like, basically, the plane came from the left, it was heading to the right, and it didn't come out the other side. That was basically what I saw, and I'm like, what? You know, and then the person on TV, you could hear, first of all, you could hear in the background, whoever was in the background, somebody was like shrieked and like screamed, and then the announcer like kind of composed himself and he says, "It seems like there is indeed, you know, what." Furthermore, let's not forget there was actually 2 other planes So there was the plane that crashed in the Pentagon, and then there was the one where, from all accounts, the um the passengers apprehended the terrorists and they crashed the plane in the middle of nowhere. I think it was like Pennsylvania, something like that, right? So I'm watching all this on TV, and you know, I still get up and leave. 'Cause to me, it's not real. I get up and leave to go to school. I'm going to school. I'm driving to school. You could see from the highway everything is clear, and then I already see from school like school's closed. So I don't even. You could already see a bunch of people because I was driving to school by that point. You could already see people are like turning around. So I'm driving. So I decided to drive back home. By the time I get back home, you actually see like the building was starting to come down, and you could see the smoke on TV and how like the smoke is like covering everything, you know. If you on the highway where I was, on the highway, you could see the smoke in the distance. I lived a good hour from that area at the time. And you could see the smoke in the distance, you know. So and again, it just didn't seem real, man. It was, you know what, it was real to me when, funny enough, I think it was maybe 2 hours after that, we were watching. They actually showed the Real Madrid match I was just told you about versus Roma.
Yeah.
They showed what was going on the big screen at the stadium, because I think they were debating at that time whether to continue with the match, because you could see they were, whoever was, I can't remember who was starting the match, but they were looking, everybody was looking at the screen, as well as they could show the crowd looking at the screen. So they were, I think the ref was didn't know whether to start the match yet, or maybe they were getting confirmation or something like that. So you know, but the match went ahead. I don't remember who won. Um and I know I had a coworker. He wasn't really a coworker. Where I worked at the time, my part-time job, he was kind of like he was like a security guard, but he just got hired by the NYPD, right? And this is the part that bothered a lot of us. He had just gotten hired by the NYPD because he just finished the academy. So I think they called in everybody to New York City. Everybody, they call all hands on deck as first responders. Um, for because buildings, even though buildings were coming down and stuff like that, he never showed up for work again. He never came back to work because again, we lived a good hour, safe hour from that area. He never came back to work. You know, his because of where he was, he actually had to take the train. He left his car because he was actually at his other job, so he had to take the train into the city to respond. His car was still there like 2 or 3 weeks later, so we knew what had happened, right? You know, there was that. That was the most significant thing, and then how rapidly overnight everything like changed in terms of because before that you never had to take your shoes off or anything like that in airports. There was maybe metal detectors, maybe, but there was no like, the conveyor belts where you take all your stuff off and put it in the container.
Yeah.
There was none of that. There was none of that. Um, People all of a sudden wondering why my name was Hassan. People never cared before that. They're like, your name's, is your name a Muslim name? You know, like, bro, you've known me for a long time. All of a sudden, now my name is an issue. You know, um, so you know, people would who had no education about um, Islam and stuff like that. My family is Muslim. I went to Catholic school. So I had a pretty good education about both sides, the similarities, how the stories are, many of the stories are practically the same. But because people aren't educated about the similarities and things like that, people have a fear of the unknown, and that's where all the other stuff comes in. So it taught me before certainly before you judge others, because I saw and heard some things being said to people at that time that was very disturbing. You know, um, you saw the police definitely profile people. Um, so till this day, personally, I can't watch footage of that. Like it bothers me. Like I can't watch it.
Because I
Like
wanted, yeah.
I could listen to documentaries, or if it's on TV, I could, but I don't like to watch it anymore because because it happened once, and the reality is I didn't like the feeling I had after that. So after that, I've stopped. I don't watch it.
Because I wanted to know, yeah. After it happened, do you have a fear of going on flights? Because obviously you came to the UK
Yeah.
at one point. Did you not think, what if it happens again?
I think it was for me, it was maybe, I didn't get on a flight for maybe 2 years after that. So it didn't really impact me in terms of wanting to get on a flight. And actually, my very next flight was more of a domestic flight. So I can't remember. It was maybe Florida. I probably was nervous getting on that flight, but it didn't really impact me flying to the UK. No, I'd long you just kind of always pray the big man brings you from one place to the next, right? But it never really it didn't really impact me wanting to travel. And I actually have a traveler's instinct because I'm trying to go all over Europe.
Yeah,
Now that I'm
let it
here,
hold you back. You know what I mean? I think always be positive no matter what.
So I'm always forward thinking in that sense, and that's what I would encourage anybody to do. It's one of the things that we all struggle to do in this life, man, is face our fears. It's so hard to do, and because the thing is, we always we always try to do something for the fear to go away, and then we do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will have to do some things afraid. Matter of fact, a lot of the things that are worth it, you will probably have to do it while you're scared out of your mind. But as you get through it, that fear will dissipate, and it's just part of the process. Bro, do you know how many training sessions where I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't like pull my hamstring or this type of thing, and you could, I hope my body holds up, I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to look old.
Yeah.
It wasn't until after it wasn't until my last season where I was okay with telling everybody, it's like, yo, I'm running just as hard as you, and I'm twice your age. You'd better be, on your game, because someone who's twice your age should not be making you look stupid on a futsal court. It wasn't until my last year where I was able to say that. Before that, I didn't want anybody to know my age. I just didn't, because
no one.
yeah.
I think it's time we might as well reveal your age right now.
You want me to say my age? I'm 45.
45 years old.
45 years old, man.
Crazy, man. Hassan, your story is so amazing. Anyone, if you're enjoying Hassan's story, make sure you're liking, you're sharing, you subscribe to see more. We might have to do a part 2.
We're going to have to do a part 2, bro.
Definitely going to do a part 2 because there's so much we haven't...
I'm going to have to tell you about some of the stuff that was happening in the library while I was doing my homework.
The university stuff, if you're a uni student or planning on studying, the stories he's got, your occupation, we haven't even gone through that. I don't even want you to reveal that. We'll definitely speak about that on a part 2. Yeah, but Hassan, your story is amazing. Definitely going to get you on a part 2. I think we're going to wrap it up now. Definitely going to invite you back. Those of you listening, if you enjoyed the story, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and follow to see more. Thank you.